fading skies. Tattered flags waving dreams in our eyes. The crowds roar like a storm on the wind. We're the underdogs fighting again.
What's going on, guys? Good evening and welcome to Stateside Footy. It is the return of the MLS live stream and, of course, the first one post-World Cup 2026 as MLS takes it from here. Thank you, world. Well, what a dumb advertising campaign. But anyway, it is Stateside Footy, and tonight is the MLS live stream as the Orlando City Soccer Club plays host to Nashville SC, the other soccer club. And of course, this is actually kind of a very interesting matchup. And of course, for those that were, that haven't necessarily paid attention, Nashville leads the Eastern Conference, cleared by 5 points on 39 points. And listen, they have done everything that I expected them to do. I thought coming into the season, Nashville was going to be the team coming out of the East. Last season, of course, losing to Inter Miami in the first at the first hurdle in the MLS Cup playoffs. I thought they would come back. I thought they would come back better. Listen, they certainly have, at least through the first half of the season. We still have no idea exactly what Nashville has in store, if they have anything in store for the summer transfer window, if they're going to improve. But that being said, Orlando City certainly has done that, as they certainly have made headlines over the summer, bringing in Antoine Griezmann. And of course, for those that were paying attention to Orlando City in the first half of the season, it wasn't really all that great. As a matter of fact, Orlando not only struggled to score goals, but they struggled keeping other opposing teams from their back net. And really what we saw in the first half was, a team that just wasn't really all that great. Now Antoine Griezmann comes in to help fix this attack, to at least give them a semblance of something that looks dangerous. And at least through one game, it certainly looked like that certainly was the case. But that being said, now all of a sudden, it's a little bit of a step up in competition. Before we get into tonight's starting 11, please do me a favor and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell. And of course, if you guys are tuning in on TikTok Live, the link is in the description. So why don't you head on over to YouTube and hook a brother up, man. That's what I do here. I do live streams and beg for subscribers. So, dude, I'm like, in the words of the Temptations way back in the day, man, I ain't too proud to beg. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Actually, first, let me welcome Adrian here, who says, good evening, Steve et al. I'm still trying to figure out who et al is. I'm just messing with you, Adrian. Auckland versus Spurs in under 4 hours. Okay, nice. Let's see. The Spurs preseason game is much more important. Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Come on. It is Auckland FC. So let's understand exactly what we're talking about here. All right, let's go ahead and get into Orlando, the host tonight. And it looks like Martin Perlman It looks like he's lining up in a little bit of a hybrid of a 4-4-2. In net will be Canada's number one, Maxime Crépeau. It looks like the back four will be Goncalves off the left, Dorsey off the right, and a center back pairing of Janssen and Berkalo. The midfield four will see Carvalho off the left, Angulo off the right, and a midfield pairing of Martin Ojeda and Otavio. And then up top, it looks like it's going to be Ellis and, of course, Antoine Griezmann. And, of course, Antoine Griezmann started off his Orlando City career with a bang. Hats off to him. That man still has a little that man still has a little bit of tank left, a little gas left in the tank. Now the question is, is that going to translate against a team that might just be a little bit better? And that's a very good question. And we are going to find out a little bit about that in just a few minutes as we are getting set for this kickoff. Let's take a look at Eastern Conference leading Nashville SC, and it looks like BJ Callahan is going to line this team up in a 4-3-3. In net today will be Ryan Schwacke, and of course Schwacke himself is actually quite a nice goaltender. And in all the midst of the, I guess you can say, the brouhaha when it comes to MLS goalkeepers, I will say that Schwacke probably is one of the better ones next to Chris Brady of Chicago. But nonetheless, Schwacke will be in net tonight. I just like saying his last name, Schwacke. It just rolls off the tongue a little bit. All right. The back four for Nashville. The outside backs on the right will be Bauer, and off the left will be Nahar. The center back pairing tonight will be Maher and Woledzi. The midfield three, it looks like it's going to be Acosta and Mule off the Acosta Mule, and then it looks like Corcoran will be a part of that as well too. And then the attacking three tonight will be Muhammad off the right, Heine Mukhtar wearing the number 10 shirt will be off the left, and of course that badass Sam Surridge will be up top. Off the bench tonight for Nashville will be Lovitz, Palacio, Burnett, Valdez, Pasius, Edie, Williams, Knight, and Kasem. So that is that. And then off the bench tonight for Orlando, it will be Otero, Adrian Martin, Iago, Tyhar Reed Brown, Zakaria Taifi, Wilder Cartagena, Gustavo Carballo, and Harvey Sarajan. And then, of course, out tonight will be Nolan Miller and Johan Gerbe. And out tonight for Nashville will be Reed Baker-Whiting, Warren Madrigal, Christian Espinosa, Patrick Yazbek, and Christopher Applewhite. So this should be quite the matchup. I'm actually looking forward to this as well too, because it's one thing to have yourself a very good debut, but that being said, you're going up against the Eastern Conference's best in Nashville, a very good organized team, a very disciplined team. BJ Callahan has this team absolutely rolling, and from that standpoint, man, it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. Now, of course, in Major League Soccer, and especially this is true through the first half, usually to the home team goes the spoils. Rarely have we seen road team victories, at least on the MLS live stream. So I'm actually kind of hoping that maybe tonight we're going to see it, but you never know. Let's see. That Dow's 7812 said, "How good is Griezmann?" He's good. He's absolutely good. He's absolutely good. The interesting thing is what this is actually going to mean for Orlando City. Now, currently they sit 2 points off the ninth spot in the Eastern Conference, and of course 8 and 9 are going to be your wild card spots. Is this something where an Antoine Griezmann is going to be able to vault this team maybe into an automatic playoff berth? That is yet to be determined, because as of right now, when you look at Charlotte, when you look at Cincinnati, when you look at NYCFC in the Eastern Conference, clearly those three teams are probably a little bit better. maybe even New York Red Bull as well too. But that being said, New York is also a very young team as well, as far as I'm concerned. When you look at some of the positions that require a lot of quality, you're looking at a very youngish team. But that being said, it looks like Michael Bradley has that team playing pretty goddamn well. And so the question is like, how good is this Antoine Griezmann signing going to mean as far as lifting this team from where they have been in the first half of the season, where this team is projected to be in the second half, and can this signing actually elevate this team? Number one, when you look at Orlando City and you look at the goal difference, a -17, they've already conceded 44 goals on the season while only having 27 to the good. And so from that standpoint, what that tells me is that as far as goal production, yes, maybe it is going to elevate this team. And maybe this is something where Orlando might be able to pull off like 3 goals a game and put themselves in a good position to pick up points. Okay, that's great. But that being said, it still doesn't necessarily address the elephant in the room, which is their defense, and which is, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the worst in the Eastern Conference. And if this team has any shot at potentially putting themselves in a position where they might be able to squeak into the playoffs, they're going to have to do some work this summer to at least get a little bit better defensively in order for them to not only get into the playoffs, but potentially put themselves in a position where they might be able to get out of not only that play-in game, but also in that first round. I don't necessarily see it. That's just me. But that being said, when you look on the other side and you see Nashville, and you look at everything that Nashville has been able to do, 39 points already through 16, 33 goals from the good. They've only conceded 11. And when you're looking at goals against, they, as far as I'm concerned, off this metric, they are the best in the Eastern Conference. Defensively, they are absolutely resolute. They're extremely talented. And it has allowed I guess you can say, the two-headed monster of Sami Surge and Heini Mukhtar to get forward and do exactly what they do well. Now, what does that mean in terms of the Eastern Conference when it comes to the playoffs? As far as I'm concerned, it's not necessarily what you do in the regular season. What you do in the regular season, potentially, that obviously determines your playoff seed. Okay, that's great. But really, once the playoff starts, and as we saw last year, and I thought, Nashville had that potential to pull off an upset last year. They did take Miami to 3. But this year, depending on how things shake out, and if Nashville end up getting the number 1 seed in the East, then obviously they would have the, quote unquote home field advantage. And so maybe that kind of tips the scales a little bit. But this year, definitely, I think Nashville is probably the best team in the Eastern Conference. Me personally, I picked them to represent the Eastern Conference when it comes to the MLS Cup final. I certainly don't think Miami's the same team that won MLS Cup last year. I think they're a little bit worse. But that being said, you look at some of the things that they've been able to do, bringing in Casemiro to fill that center defensive midfield role. Obviously, losing a guy like Sergio Busquets had its problems with Miami through the first half of the season, surrendering 30 goals. But that being said, they're on 34 points, and they're only 5 points out in second place. And so this actually has a tendency to be, I guess you would call, a shootout this way all the way down. So for me, there's going to be a lot of intrigue at the top of the Eastern Conference moving forward. And of course, we still have Leagues Cup to play, which, for me, it's a Mickey Mouse tournament. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of that. But that being said, you would think that maybe this might be the year that they would kind of postpone Leagues Cup and just stick to regular season play. But I digress. That's not the case. They're going to actually end up having that. And it looks like right now there is an inclement weather warning right now in Orlando. So let's see. Interesting. So I will keep you updated as far as the start of this match. So it looks like there is an inclement weather warning in Orlando. And I will obviously keep you updated. Jack Dickens says Seattle not being active enough in the transfer window has caught up to them 100%. But understand that Seattle has the worst GM in the league, and when you are doubling down and tripling down on an aging core, and when you add pieces like a Paul Arriola, who also has had his injury issues, when you give a Jordan Morris those type of contractual obligations, of course, it is always going to be a thing where Jordan Morris stays healthy for a year to pick up that DP contract. Now, all of a sudden, you're kind of looking at the fact that Jordan can't stay healthy. Albert Rusnak can't stay healthy. Pedro de la Vega obviously cannot stay healthy. And so you have your 3 DPs that literally are doing nothing for you. And, at least the one signing that made a little bit of sense, which was Jesus Ferreira, even that's not really doing much. And so you're left with an attack that is Ozazi De Rosario, Jesus Ferreira, Paul Rothrock, and Paul Arriola. Like, this is what tonight, that is exactly what they're trying to beat Philadelphia with. And when you look at the fact that they, over the last, I guess you can say 8 months, they've gotten rid of a lot of their younger core that probably should have been something that you try to at least start your rebuilding foundation around. Instead, they've got rid of them, and they're doubling and tripling down on these players that A, can't stay healthy, B, now they have no value in the open market. So even, like, for instance, eventually the wheels were going to fall off. Now, I don't necessarily think that the wheels have completely fallen off. Me personally, I think Seattle is going to get healthy at the right time, and I think they're going to make the playoffs. But whether or not this team is going to be able to make a deep run, I don't necessarily believe that, right? And so eventually what's going to happen is this core will age out, and Seattle is going to have a very hard time getting off some of these contracts in order for them to either open up roster spots or be able to get anything in return as far as a decent market price. And so this, I got to be honest with you, man, this is not going to be an easy rebuild for Seattle. And yeah, it's like what they ended up doing. And by the way, the time to rebuild was after the 2022 Champions League run, after the World Cup, where guys like Christian Roldan, guys like Jordan Morris, who, by the way, made the World Cup roster that year, because of that, their value was at the all-time high. And that's when you sell them on. When you know for a fact you're going to be able to move them, and when you know for a fact you're going to be able to get maximum value. And if you go to your supporters and say, hey, listen, we have a great run over the course of the last 7 years. We won a couple MLS Cups. We now won CONCACAF Champions League. But understand that this core is to age out, and it's only going to get worse from here. We're going to make the tough decision by rebuilding. And by doing this, we're going to be able to get top value for these players, and we're going to be able to open up DP spots, which is going to allow us to get younger so we can build that next core. And I guarantee you, fans, yeah, they would have been a little bit bummed, but at the end of the day, they would have bought it because of I guess you can say, the credibility that they were able to build over the previous 10 years. They didn't elect to do that, and they brought in Craig Weibel as their GM, who's terrible. And now all of a sudden, instead of being able to move off of them, they are contractually obligated through at least a couple more seasons. And this is only going to get worse for Seattle. It's a shame too, because, this is a team that historically has been one of the best teams in Major League Soccer, one of the best teams that has been expertly ran. And it's a shame. So let's go ahead and take a look around Major League Soccer, because right now we are currently in a weather delay. So let's go ahead and check in around the league. And we will start with Seattle versus Philadelphia for at least 5 minutes. And then, of course, I will check back in with Orlando versus Nashville, and we'll get on with it. So we will start here in Philadelphia, as Seattle will be taking on the Union. And for those who are tuning in, expecting Nashville versus Orlando City, that is in a weather holding pattern, as lightning has caused the fans and the teams to stay in their locker rooms and until that weather system passes. So in 10 minutes, we will check around. We'll check back, and they still haven't started. We will go to a different game as this match is kicked off in Philadelphia as this one gets played out. And it looks like Philadelphia will have a throw in here. So we will jump around until Nashville and Orlando kick off. And there's Cass Sullivan, the young 16-year-old midfield maestro for Philadelphia, as this one will go into the box, as that one will be popped straight into the air as that one goes down, and it's going to get cleared away. So this will be a throw-in for Philadelphia. And of course, Seattle coming out of the break has not been great. 2 losses. One absolutely embarrassing to Portland, and another one to Austin, as the Sounders looking like they might be a little desperate. And of course, they recently just let go or moved their Japanese player to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds to open up an international slot, as this one will go to the right-hand side, and now it's going to get cleared away and out again. So this will be a throw-in. So that should be able to allow Seattle some flexibility to make a roster move. But, again, you actually have to trust this front office to be able to do it, and we just haven't seen this front office be ambitious, as this one will drop, and it'll get cleared away. And again, Philadelphia will play this up. Will be able to have a throw-in this time, as it looks like Philadelphia is doing a very good job, as Kai Wagner recently coming back from Birmingham, as he is the new DP left back. As this one will take a bounce in the midfield, but Philadelphia will hold on to possession here. Good young team, Philadelphia, led by their captain, Andre Blake. And, of course, the big names are probably Noel Pierre, young center back, Kevin Sullivan, and Vasilev. As this ball will get played down the left-hand side, but right there is Andrew Thomas. Ooh, sorry about that. All right, let's see what we got here. There we go. Ooh, where that goes. All right, sorry about that, guys. You watched the final of the World Cup? I did. And let me say that was easily one of the worst World Cup finals I think I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of them since 1990. As this ball gets played out. And there's Paul Arriola. The Sounders will have a throw in here, as Kozarienzi will throw this a little short and will go out. And that was an absolutely absurd touch right there by Ozazi De Rosario. So this will be a goal kick for Philadelphia. For those that are tuning in, right now, Nashville versus Orlando is under a lightning delay. As we will check in about 5 minutes to see if that match has kicked off. Until then, we will jump around the league a little bit, as Andre Blake will play this long. And it looks like Stuart Hawkins will make the head. But on the play, it looks like Snyder Brunel will be whistled for. So this will be a free kick for Philadelphia. That was kind of a no-brainer right there. as it looks like Danley is up now. So this will be a free kick from a moderately dangerous area for Philadelphia, as Seattle has essentially conceded 8 goals in 2 games, which when you consider the amount of injuries that Seattle currently possess, you can understand. But that being said, for a team that historically has been pretty good defensively, this is kind of shocking, as this one will take a deflection. Headed back down, but right there is going to be a shot, again deflected, as Ozazi will come down with it. They have somebody rolling off the right. It's going to be Paul Arriola. Arriola will slow this thing up. Here's Rienzi, as that was nearly taken away from Philly. As Seattle will maintain possession here. As it looks like it'll be Stuart Hawkins here. What's up, Stuart? Hey, Stu. As this gets played down to Koza Rienzi, tries to center it, and that pass will end up with Philadelphia, as that ball's going to get played long. Nobody's there except for Andrew Thomas, who will play this long. As Seattle will come away with it. No foul on the play. As Philadelphia will come away with this. As we're in the 6th minute, and of course we will check back with Orlando and Nashville in just a few minutes. And if it still hasn't started, we will bounce to another game. For those that are tuning in, there is a lightning warning in the Orlando area as the ball gets played forward, taken away by Seattle. Immediately can I Philly. Here's Kevin Sullivan. Here's Kai Wagner. Off the left-hand side. As Philly's ball movement is actually quite good. As this one will be taken away by Seattle. Here's Arriola. And now it's immediately taken away by Philly. Off the left-hand side. Sullivan. Did you see Hagseth answer questions the other day? Are Iran irrelevant? It's a good question. It's a good question. Let's go ahead and check back in with Orlando versus Nashville, as we will see if as they are still under inclement weather. So let's go ahead and check in with who do we check in with? How about Chicago versus NYCFC and see where they're at? As Chicago, of course, has Robert Lewandowski as their at Citi Field in New York. As Chicago will possession here. 0-0 through the first 8.5 minutes. As Chicago is on the attack here. And there's a turnover. And NYCFC will be on the counter here. Actually, they might be at Yankland. It's so weird, man, watching this team play in a baseball stadium. It just looks like a short pitch. As City will hold possession. It almost feels like you have to play short passes just because the pitch itself is short. But here we go off the left-hand side. There's a ball in. There's also a shot. Ooh, that's a goal for NYCFC. Great goal off the redirection. Chris Brady and New York City will take the lead. And that absolutely was a laser beam for New York. I think it was Merkel that scored for City. That was absolutely brilliant as we see it again. As that ball came in, it was redirected off the clearance, and he just puts an absolute laser beam past Chris Brady right out at the 18-yard box centrally. It actually was Nico Fernandez. That was gorgeous. So City will take a 1-0 lead 10 minutes into the first half. Wow. And just like that, Chicago puts itself down after the restart. And of course, Chicago, after bringing in Robert Lewandowski, sold Hugo Kuipers to Monterrey, the MLS Golden Boot leader, as that one will go out of play. It looks like Chicago will have the throw in here. Instead of trying to figure out a way to make both pieces work, Chicago immediately gets rid of their essentially their Golden Boot leader, as we'll actually have throw in here, as this the central area of the pitch here. That's a good ball forward. Now it's taken away by Chicago. And again, it's just a short pitch, so everything is just kind of scrunched together in the middle. Here's Bamba. As that's taken away by New York, as Chicago was down in the attacking end, as that one will take a redirection. So this will be a goal kick for New York as Matt Freese, of course, the U.S. #1 at the World Cup, back with this club. And of course, there is some news surrounding Matt Freese, a potential move to Celtic. Could be in the cards for the young man, which would be a solid move for Freese. As play resumes, as Freese under a little bit of pressure, but he does get it away. As this one will go forward. As Chicago will go away with it. In just a few minutes, we will check in with Nashville and Orlando to see if they're out of the break here. As this one gets played out, it looks like it'll be a New York City throw in here. Nice play by James Sands, of course, is back off a loan from St. Pauli in the Bundesliga. Did pretty well out there. It'd be interesting to see if he either another loan move. As this ball gets played forward. As New York will take this away. Chicago just couldn't do anything there, as this ball will be tipped out. Nice little play by Barbasso. There's Greg Berhalter. And back in with Orlando. Still in a break. So now we will go to New England versus Atlanta, and of course this is at Gillette Field, home of the New England Revolution. And of course they have already pulled up the grass pitch and put back turf. There's Matko Milikic, the former USU 23 head coach, as play resumes here. As we now check in with DC versus Toronto. And of course, I don't mean to punish you with DC versus Toronto, because both of these teams are absolute garbage. But here's DC in possession, as this one will bounce out to the right. Nice little play right there. That's a good ball in right there. And that's going to take a deflection. As DC historically has not been the same team since winning all those MLS Cups way back in the day. Toronto equally as terrible, as they have yet to win a match in their last four. Losers at Charlotte and Chicago, and ended up tying against Montreal and the New England Revolution. So DC will have the corner here as this ball gets whipped in, as that is going to be cleared. I think there's going to be a whistle, so yeah, it will be. As soon as this delay comes out, obviously we will cut right back to it. It looks like fans have re-entered the stadium here. As we now check in with Columbus and Cincinnati. The Hell is Real Derby, the Battle of Ohio, as Cincinnati now will play this centrally. And that's going to be a turnover. Here comes Columbus now. Manages to hang on in the central area. And of course, Columbus is a far cry from what they were just 2 years ago, as they have yet to replace the production of Cucho. As that ball is going to be deflected, but held on by Columbus now. Here's Arston. As Cincinnati will take this away. Here's Denke, as they're going to try to shoot this one long. Right there was Patrick Schulte trying to take a long distance shot. By the way, Cincinnati does lead this one 1-0, as this one is in the 32nd minute here in the first half. As this ball is going to go long, as Cincinnati will come away with this. As it looks like this thing is almost out of the break in Orlando, as we will keep you updated, as this ball is going to make its way to Denke, marked by two defenders. And it looks like Inter there didn't hold on to it, as Patrick Schulte will find the ball at his feet. Columbus again will bet, as Cincinnati is trying to get forward there. No dice. And really, Columbus has really been since Nancy has taken off as head coach. Haven't necessarily had that same type of discipline, same type of organization. And quite frankly, they just haven't really been able to replace some of their. But here at the attacking, as this ball will try to go in, as it goes central, but there's nobody there, so Cincinnati will away with it. Here's Sander. He's going to try to play this one forward. It's going to take a deflection, and Columbus will come away with it. Again, Columbus will try to attack down the right-hand side. As there's a ball into the box, it's going to cut. And they can't do anything as Cincinnati will try to come away with this, and they do. And there's going to be a whistle. Cincinnati really kind of is compared to this Columbus team. As now we check in with Charlotte in the second half, as Charlotte leads 2-0. As it looks like Charlotte is going to make a switch here. As it looks like Cleary is coming on for Topolo. As we are waiting for the start of Orlando versus Nashville. And of course, for those that are tuning in and wondering why I'm hopping around the league here, there is a lightning storm in effect, as it looks like things are starting to clear up, and we will have this match starting just shortly. As a try off the left-hand side. Of course, Red Bull have two very good youth U.S. youth internationals in Julian Hall and Audrey Mametti, two insanely good young players that could be the future of the U.S. men's national team. Here at Sports Illustrated Field in New York, as this one make way down to the right-hand side. As they'll try this one again. As New York now plays it into Mametti, tries to play it forward. It's going to take a tip and will go back. As this ball will go along down the left-hand side and out of play. And then for Charlotte, lost Wilfred Zaha in June, elected to let that contract out, which was I think it was actually a loan deal. As we check back in with New York and Chicago, and it looks like Chicago just equalized on a goal by Waterman off a set piece. And so Chicago finds their way back into it. That was actually a really good goal. And in the 20th minute, Chicago equalizes. Shout out to all the single moms out there. All right, Dusky Clear. I like it. Let's see what we got here. Saif Kuder, they haven't started because there is a lightning storm in effect, and so we're kind of bouncing around a little bit until that one gets underway. That is why. Let's see. Sean Hurl says, lots of Spurs people involved in the founding of Nashville FC, so like to keep an eye on their sources, like Coach Wells with Colorado. Rapid drags my eyes to their results as well, too. Yeah, I understand that. And I've always kind of had a thing for Colorado. Like I'm not the biggest Rapids guy in the world, but they actually do play a style that I don't mind. Let's see. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Getting ready for a long night with my watch along. Things we do for Spurs. Yeah, and by the way, for those that are tuning in, yeah, I'm not doing a preseason watch along tonight for Tottenham Hotspur because, quite frankly, I don't really want to, because that is something that I just don't want to do. So let's go ahead and check in. With Montreal versus Miami. And of course, this is going to be without Messi, as he is taking a little bit of an extended break because of the World Cup. And we are pushing the 25th minute here in Montreal. and this is 0-0. So I would probably assume Rodrigue to Paul, as this ball will make its way off to the left, and it stays in. Good play right there. So Miami in the attacking end here. Luis Suarez is definitely playing in this one. That's Segovia. We'll play it off to the left. As there's a turnover right there, but Miami nearly got back. They do get it back. That's a hell of a tackle right there. As Segovia will play it in. There's a shot, and it's going to go wide of the bar. As that was a pretty good shot there by Bertarame. He took a shot from the 18, just not on target right there. So again, I will keep you updated as soon as this match starts in Orlando. As Inter Miami, of course, 5 points behind Nashville in the Eastern Conference. Montreal, who is down there at the end, but that's a good ball forward for Montreal. As Owusu now nearly had it taken away, but Montreal trying to battle that down here in the corner, but Miami will take it away. As this ball pings around, and Montreal will come away with it. There's a ball in, and that's going to be headed away, but Montreal will hold it in. The shot, ooh, that nearly went in. Off the turn by Longstaff. Not a bad shot right there from Longstaff. It was almost chip-like. And he just missed the far post by a good 2 feet. So Miami plays out of the back here. As this ball will go long. And that was a good tip forward. And it looks like Suarez will chase it. As this one will go off to the left-hand side. As they play it centrally into Bright. Good tip to Segovia. Suarez tried to chip it, but nowhere in the vicinity as that one goes past the end line. So this will be a goal kick for Montreal. As we are damn near close for the start of Orlando versus Nashville. As it looks like we're almost coming out of the break. As it looks like Columbus has equalized here in the Hell is Real derby. As we check back in. And Orlando again, not Orlando, but Columbus again tried to get forward. Looks like there could have been a foul there. So it'll be a corner for Columbus as this ball gets whipped in. Back post as that was headed down, but held in by Columbus now. As this one will make its way out past the sideline. So Columbus will have a throw in here as they are looking for the go-ahead. As Chicago and New York. And it looks like New York just pulled ahead of Chicago with a brilliant goal off the right-hand side to regain the lead. That was actually a very good goal right there. It looks like it was by Ojeda as NYCFC regains the lead in New York. That's a hell of a goal right there. So it looks like V2 JMod is my biggest fan. I don't know if that's sarcasm, if you're being legit. Let's see. We have Raymundo Perez 3165 says "Como van?" I only speak Spanish, brother. MVP Energy. Hi. What time is the game going? That's a good question. I'm assuming it's going to happen pretty soon, as they are in the middle of a lightning. I guess you could say a lightning delay in Orlando. So as soon as that clears, the last thing I saw was the fans coming back into the stand. So that's a pretty good sign that this match is going to kick off very shortly. So I will let you know when that happens. As Cincinnati and Columbus, and it's going to be Evander, who nearly scores again. That's a hell of a move right there by Evander. And it looks like this one is going to go out for a corner kick here for Cincinnati. Of course, Columbus equalized not that long ago, as Schulte did a very good job right there of putting himself in a good position to block that, as it looks like Evander went near post. And Patrick Schulte did a very good job of deflecting that one away. So this will be a corner here for Cincinnati, as Evander will take the corner. As this ball gets whipped in, headed away by Columbus, held in by Cincinnati, and now that's taken away. Chip forward. Switch to the right. Not enough leg on that one as that comes down, and Cincinnati will pull this one back. I would absolutely like to see this game start as soon as possible, as we go back to Philadelphia with Seattle and Philly, and it looks like Philadelphia here is on the attacking side. Oh, what a goal. What a goal by Philly. It was Zalowski, puts one and just chips it right over. And what a hell of a goal right there by Philadelphia, as he chipped it straight over Andrew Thomas, as that ball was delivered perfectly off the right-hand side between two defenders, and Zalowski just chips it right over Andrew Thomas, as Philadelphia will take a 1-0 lead on Seattle. That was just a hell of a ball, and there's nothing Seattle can do right there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable goal by Philly. So Seattle already in trouble here in the 31st minute, as Milan Ilowski, that's his 9th goal of the season through 17. Hell of a season this young man has had. As the Sounders have themselves an issue. I guess the question is like, when is going to be enough for ownership in Seattle to make sure that they bring in a GM that's going to be confident enough to know it's time to blow this up and it's time to go in a different direction. And it looks like Koza Rienzi is down. As we go back to Columbus, as Brew are attacking, there's a good ball. Ooh. And I think that just might be a penalty against Cincinnati here, as that was a clean tackle in the box as Arfston went down. And I think it looked like Columbus has just been awarded a penalty. This again, Arston is attacking the end line as he goes in. And yeah, it kind of looks like a penalty to me as Arston. Yeah, he could have actually ran into the tackle there. As it looks like here right before the end of the first half, it looks like Columbus is going to get themselves a penalty here. As Celantanos have a few words with Barcy here. As looks like Zawadzki and Obina are having a pushing match here. And yeah, looks like Columbus is going to get it. So it looks like Gazdag is going to take the penalty here right before the end of the first half for Columbus. So it looks like they're going to have a start time at 8:46 Eastern time. So you're talking about, like another 30 minutes now, as that will be when this match will kick off. As here we go. Gazdag will play this one, and Columbus now takes a 2-1 lead right before the end of the first half. Nice. Let's see. I see Leeds versus Wrexham is ongoing. Okay, there you go. You're not going to get me to switch, my guy. All right, let's see what we got here. So let's go back to Seattle versus Philly here, as we are now in the 37th minute here. As we are about a good 8 minutes away from half, as it looks like Visselev is kind of limping a little bit. Looks like the Beagle maybe as play resumes, as Seattle now will hold possession in Philly's end, as this one will make it to the right hand side. Rienzi. As Rienzi will play it forward, trying to find Areola. But there's a turnover. Here's Rienzi now. Has to lay this one back. Hawkins will play it back to Rienzi off the right-hand side. There's a ball in, as that's going to take a bounce, and Philadelphia will clear this all the way out. As this one will make its way out of play. So Seattle will have a throw-in, as Visselev will come back in. As Seattle is just absolutely struggling here in the first half. As they have literally just found no openings enough to get their attack involved. There's that's a ball forward. There's a ball that's going to take a deflection out, so it'll be a corner for Philly, as Visselev couldn't get around the corner. Good defense by the Sounders. So it'll be a corner for Philly. Let's see, has the World Cup affected the popularity of sport in the U.S.? In my opinion, I think it's a little too early for that conversation. Now, according to Major League Soccer, now if you really want to, I don't know, man. Like if you want to take their word for it, they've said that viewership is up 69 points. But as far as we're not really going to know until really, I would probably assume after the season, until they release those numbers. I'm sure they'll have them broken down. But again, I can't necessarily trust anything that's coming out of Major League Soccer. But what I do know is that there has an uptick with the United Soccer League, the second division uh, the second division league, as at least judging by my timeline, it seems like a lot of people post World Cup has paid some attention to the USL, which is actually a great thing. So as this ball will make its way past the end line. So again, Seattle again, not much there, as this one will be a goal kick. I really do believe that it's just a little too early for that kind of conversation. I would like to say yes, but I don't know. How do you rate Joffis, Siri Larson at Philly? That's a good question. I got to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of them, so I don't want to give you a a bullshit answer. This season I've only seen the Union on a couple occasions. Haven't really gotten a hook, and there's not I don't like to watch highlights and judge. I actually want to see him play. So from that standpoint, I would love to give you a good answer, but as this ball will make its way forward, as this one will get headed away, as Veselev will come away with it for Philly. Veselev will break free off the left hand side. We'll hold this one up. Good ball to the central area. Here's Sullivan. As Sullivan gets knocked down, but Philly will hold it in. For those that are tuning in, wondering how come Nashville and Orlando hasn't kicked off, they will be kicking off right around 8:45-ish, as they had a lightning storm, as they were waiting for that weather pattern to move past for them to kick it off. So that will be kicked off at about 8:45. And of course, we will have that as soon as that match kicks off. In the meantime, we are watching the end of the first half with Philadelphia and Seattle. Philly leads 1-0. As the Sounders have essentially looked completely useless, as Philly has the dominant team here. As Pierre will play to the right side. That's a good ball in. And Seattle tries to clear it, but Philadelphia will hold it in. Here's Wagner. We'll play this one in. Right there is Andrew Thomas. As that, I guess you could say that cross went straight into the keeper. Not bad movement right there from Philadelphia. Seattle again was caught flat-footed off that right side defensively. Seattle just might be in a world of hurt. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in this window, if they do anything. Of course, Seattle hasn't done anything in 3 straight summer windows, which is criminal if you ask me. But they did win Leagues Cup last year, so I guess it's not all bad. Here's Arriola knifing through traffic as it makes its way over to the left-hand side. Here's Paul Rothrock. As Paulie Knuckles will lay this one off. Here's Nuhu, who's going to have to lay this one back. As Rothrock's pass will be intercepted. Here comes Philly now, trying to break quickly down the right-hand side. In the box, plays it over. Ooh, good defense right there by Seattle. As it looked like I think that was actually a nice play, though, as that was nearly a Philly second goal right there. Good defense by the Sounders. And Seattle's going to try to counter quickly. Here's Sonny Dutson. Here's Rusnik. as Seattle will try again, play it off the right-hand side. There's just nothing there. As Dotson will play it in through just a little too heavy as he was looking for Rusnik. Not exactly the greatest run right there by Rusnik as Dotson's pass will go past the end line. We are approaching the 45th minute now. Let's see. What teams do you root for in the U.S., England, Germany, Spain, Italy, Norway? Well, I don't necessarily have a Norwegian team. But if I have to pick one, maybe I'll say Bodo, yes. Maybe Molde. I can tell you that in England, it is Spurs. In Germany, I'm going to say Bayern Leverkusen. Spain, I'm going to say, I really don't have one in Spain, but I guess Atletico. Let's see. AC Milan. I'm currently in the great state of Michigan, but originally from Boston. So, as you know, we'll this one yet again. It's Kevin Sullivan. Good ball forward from Sullivan. Too heavy. There's going to be a whistle right there as Snyder Burnell will hit the turf. As we are just, looks like we're about 20 minutes away from Nashville and Orlando beginning. At the conclusion of this first half, we will go back and check a couple of games as we get for Orlando versus Nashville. As here's Ariola, tries to play it for that's just a bad pass by Ariola. As Philly will come away with it. As Seattle's attack is rendered absolutely useless. That's a good little sliding tackle right there by Stuart Hawkins. As Damani could not get past. Nice list of teams except for Spurs. Boda and Molde. Here's a Sport SK Norway. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't watch a lot of Norwegian football. Me personally, I have a nice little affinity for the English second division. And I also like the Scottish Premier. That's a league. And I'm always going to support my my Tottenham Hotspur. Let's see. Where else are we at here? All right, let's check in with Charlotte and New York. That's in the second half. Charlotte leads 2-0, and this one is in the 88th minute, as they still have been absolutely dominant, as New York just has not been able to get much going here. There's a yard, and it goes all the way out past the end line. So Charlotte will have the throw in here. Oh yeah, like here, I actually don't mind Derby County. You know, I got to be honest with you. I kind of have an affinity for Blackburn. I kind of like Blackburn Rovers. Although, you know, they really haven't done much, but Derby actually it's not terrible, man. Middlesbrough, I kind of like. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Patton comes back from probably start the season out as he was recovering from an Achilles injury. But yeah, the thing that I like about the championship is number one, the quality. Number two, no VAR. But you also see different variations of football. You know, not every coach plays the same style of football like they do in the Premier League, and what you have are just different varying degrees of football, and it makes it interesting. Yeah, I like Pat too. Southampton is going to be interesting this year. looks like Damien Jones has come back on fire. As this one will take a deflection and will go over the crossbar. So I think this will be a corner here. 5 minutes of added time towards the end of this one, as Red Bull are looking to find their way back into it. I think it's a little too late here for Red Bull, as Valencia will take this corner here. And of course, Wrexham wouldn't mind seeing Wrexham. Last year, in a season where essentially they were just trying to consolidate, they nearly made the playoffs. So this one will be headed away. Here's as that shot is going to take deflection. As New York is trying to hold this one in, Charlotte will come away with it. And I think there's going to be a whistle. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a whistle right there. That was the interesting thing, watching that team compete. I don't think they were looking for a promotion last year. They were just looking to stabilize themselves in the division. And the fact that they nearly pulled off a playoff appearance just kind of goes to show you that type of leadership that Wrexham has. And be surprised if, Wrexham get into the playoffs this year. I don't know if they're going to get the automatic, but it wouldn't surprise me if they got into the playoffs. As Red Bull do much there, as that one gets played out. So Charlotte will have to throw in here as this goes all the way up. And there's going to be a whistle. So it's going to be a free kick for Charlotte here. Let's see. The championship playoff matches last year was great too. We'll see. I think they became the first number 6 seed in 15 years to get promoted. The 6 seed, it looks like Audrey Mehmeti is being sent off here. As he pulls a second yellow card, he's getting sent off here. And Mehmeti can't believe it. That was an interesting playoff last year. As the interesting thing is, I thought that going against a team like Millwall, I think both teams split the season, split the home and home. And I think a lot of people just assume that, Millwall would probably handle their business against Hull City. Not so much. And then, of course, in the playoff final, that was absolutely phenomenal game, that playoff final. So, congratulations to them. So New York now down an extra man. I do too. It all depends on business that they do this summer, but as of right now, it's like, I probably would agree with you. I think we'll probably go down this year. As this one's nearly complete, as we have about a minute and a half left, as Charlotte has won themselves outside of New York. As this ball gets put in, nearly shorter, that ball will pop over the crossbar. So Ethan Horvath now will play it all the way to the right. That's New York for an answer here. They only got about another 45 seconds before this one will be finals. There's one up the left. As that pass is taken away by Charlotte, there's going to be a whistle. I have about 20 seconds left. Let's see. Last time we about here in Norway. What player made fall of the game? Great. Great quote. Initially, Eric Winalda. Initially, but there's been a lot of them. My favorite player of all time was Clint Dempsey. But I was also a huge as this one's gone final in New York. I was a huge Gareth Bale fan, so I don't think there's anybody better. Let's see if this one has came out of the break yet. Nope, not yet. So we are about 10 minutes away as we check back in. As that one's at break, let's see what we got here. All right, let's check in with Columbus and Cincinnati as we're in the second half here. The 47th minute, Columbus scored to take the lead 2-1 as we are about 10 minutes away from kickoff in Orlando. And I do appreciate your guys' patience. Yeah, Pete Bale was the best. And of course, I caught the early years of Harry Kane. And like when Kane finally broke through, that was unbelievable. Like that was magic. Prior to when you look at Spurs, you had Bale, you had Modric, you had Van de Vaart, Ousmane Dembele, or it was Dembele. You had Moussa Dembele, excuse me, and then you had Jermaine Defoe. Peter Crouch was on that team. Dempsey was on that team. It was great, man. Let's see. I'm a Sunderland fan. I'm a our second year. I don't see that happening. That is a very well-coached team. Plus, they have European competitions. Sunderland's going to be a very good team. As Cincinnati now will come away with possession. Yeah, I remember when Moussa Dembele played for Fulham. Both him and Dempsey came over literally like a month apart in the summer of 2012. I think that was Harry Redknapp, actually. Cincinnati will hold possession here. Here's Evander. He came down deep to make that touch. There's a switch to the hand side. Here comes Cincinnati. That's a good ball. That's going to take a deflection. Cleared away by Columbus. And Cincinnati will take that one right back away. No foul on Cincinnati. But Columbus, again, will come away with this. It's bad officiating right there. Should have been a foul. Again, it's Columbus. It looks like they're going to come away with this. As this match has gone into the 50th minute. And let's see, your name is Sheldon Memes. As this ball's going to be poked away. Cincinnati again will try to hit on the break down the left-hand side. Nice play right there by Columbus. To get this ball back, there's a ball that's going to go long down the left-hand side. Chasing after it is Arston. As he keeps this one in, this will go out, though, for a Columbus throw-in. Look at Arston trying to do the okey doke, but there's going to be a whistle right there as he wins his team. A free kick from a dangerous area off the left-hand side. As he just plays it off the back of Buka. And Buka trips him up. Nice little heads-up play right there by Arston. Of course, Arvston made the U.S. roster for the World Cup, and it sounds like he is on the cusp of getting the move to Europe. Go support local club and rival Vålerenga tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Good luck. As that one will again off that free. Let's see. The game going to start at 8:46. Let's go. Vamos Orlando. 2-2 Wrexham. All right. Let's see. We'll keep an eye on Middlesbrough for Lancashire this season. That was a good piece of business by both Spurs and Middlesbrough. And Ashley Phillips. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. As it looks like in just a few minutes, we will tune into Orlando versus Nashville, as that is set to kick off. And I do thank you guys for tuning into this one, even though it was under a lightning delay. As Cincinnati here is down a goal to Columbus, as this one's in the 53rd, as Miles Robinson will try to push this one forward. Here's Evander. As this one gets played back. I'm not a big fan of Cincinnati's color scheme, the orange and blue. Let's see. You are Tottenham fans. Yeah, sure am. Let's see. You think Chelsea overpay for Rodgers? Well, he's worth that much, then no. But yeah, I guess Morgan Rodgers. I don't think he's worth it. But if a team pays it, then yeah, I guess he is. But they did a good job of getting rid of Garnacho in order to make room. So Alejandro, as Max Arvston will step over Miles Robinson. Here's a ball forward. That's a great ball forward. Into the box comes Columbus. Lays it centrally. There's a shot. Ooh, nice save by Roman Celentano. Gets a paw on it. As we see this again, it was Max Arvston who just steps over and plays a ball forward. That ball was excellently just put in the central area, and it looks like Gazdag couldn't hit the target as Roman Celentano got a nice little mid on it. So this will go out for a corner for Columbus. I do not speak Arabic. I'm sorry. Not 120 mil. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. As this ball gets whipped in, headed away by Cincinnati. Kept in by Columbus. Yeah, 120 mil for Morgan Rodgers is a little much. But then again, I kind of feel like Sandro Tonali might have been overpriced at 100 mil for Spurs. So what do I know? All right, let's go ahead and get to as Orlando and Nashville should kick off in just a few seconds here. Pooley should stay in Italy or Spain. I don't think his mentality is built for the Premier League. I disagree because he's been there before. And I think his mentality was just fine the first time around. But it was a different situation, right? You know, he was still on his grind, right? Where he had to continue to prove that he was worth starting minutes. And so, you know, he was almost on that Clint Dempsey grind where every single year there was a new head coach and every single year he had to prove his worth. And so the way that I always looked at it was Pulisic played with an edge back in the day. And I think that allowed him to be what he was. But when he got the move to AC Milan, he didn't have to do that anymore. He was brought in to start, and now granted, he's been good for Milan, but it is what it is. I don't think he's playing with that edge anymore. By the way, Nashville is a plus 167 favorite tonight, a 40.3% chance of winning tonight, as this one is about to kick off. So it looks like we are going to get underway in Orlando, as it looks like Remy Buchanan will be the referee for tonight, and in the VAR will be Kevin Hewitt. As there's the TIFO. There's the Orlando TIFO. As we're finally underway here, or about to be, in Orlando, which English league would be MLS level, somewhere between the Championship and League One. I think the Championship is a little bit better. So it looks like Orlando will hold possession. They're playing from right to left. As Griezmann will handle things to start here for Orlando, as we are underway, as this one gets played all the way back. As this ball will make its way to the right-hand side before ultimately coming back. As we all see what Orlando is made up here with Antoine Griezmann here at the Interco Stadium in beautiful Orlando, Florida. That's a nice little move here, as this one is going to get played for some stupid reason, as Bracalo has to go back and track this one. As here's Janssen. As Nashville's doing a pretty good job of closing down space. Pressuring back to Janssen now. As this one goes back to Bracalo. Now here comes Orlando up the right-hand side. Here's Griezmann's going to lay this one forward. As Nashville looks like they're almost going to come away with it. But instead, it falls back to Griezmann, who's plays one in. Griezmann, as this one gets headed away. And he's in a very dangerous ball, and he comes away with this. And Orlando will keep this one in. Here's Ellis. Lays it all the way to the left-hand side. 1v1. Cuts in. Plays one in, and that's going to get headed away by Nashville. And finally, Nashville clears it. But not before Dorsey will hold this in for Orlando. There's a ball in. And right there will be Schwacke for Nashville coming down with this. So not bad, not a bad start right here by Orlando. Showing a little aggression in their attack. Here's Antoine. As we'll see what Nashville has in store. As that one was nearly taken away. Here's Heine Mukhtar coming down with it. As this one gets played all the way back. As Nashville will try to reset here. As Griezmann is applying pressure. But they do find the outlet on the right-hand side. As it looks like Orlando's pressuring with 4 here. Oh, that's a nice little move. Here comes Nashville. Mukhtar up top against Janssen. As Heine will cut back to the end line. Plays one over. There's just nobody there as Janssen will have to clear this one, and he does. Ooh. And there's going to be a whistle right there. As on the ground, it looks like it was Carvalho. As we are just a few minutes into the first half, and of course, Orlando now will have the free kick. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how this one plays out. Nashville, on paper, is the better team. They are the favorite tonight. But it looks like Orlando has come off in these first 5 minutes, ultra aggressive, looking to get that first goal. Janssen will take this free kick and will play it short. Here's Griezmann. Finds Ojeda. There's the move from hand side. He finds Dorsey now, and Dorsey's got space. As he lays this one back to Bercalo. Here's Janssen. As this one will make its way down the left-hand side. Here's Ellis. As this one gets played back to Janssen. Here's Ojeda, dribbling through the central area. Ojeda lays it off. Here's Griezmann, plays one in, back post, and that'll clear through the end line. So this will be a goal for Nashville again. Very, very dangerous ball in. Nashville, of course, has been unbelievable in the first half of the season. As Schwab will play this long down the left-hand side. As Surge gets bumped in the back, there's no call. And it looks like Carvalho took the exact same bump in the back. As they're going to say this will last be touched by Orlando. As Rien right there went to go get the ball. They say, no, it's Nashville. As Orlando, look at that, just straight up takes the ball away. Here's Ojeda, going to try to play it long down the right-hand side, looking for Dorsey. There's just nobody there. As Schwaki now will play this long. As Ojeda won that jump ball from Heine Mukhtar. As Rien has to play this one all the way back to Maxime Crépeau, Canada's number one. He actually didn't have that bad of a World Cup. Not bad at all. Canada had their best World Cup showing. All three host nations going out in the round of 16, though. As Crépeau now will play this long. Does get Dorsey. That's good defense right there. Good defense right there by Bauer. And there's BJ. As this will be a goal kick here for Nashville as we're closing in on the 8th minute. As Schwaki will have to get rid of it, and he does. As that's chipped over, here's Nahar. And he's going to play this all the way down. Good move. There's a ball in. Deflected away. Here's Mukhtar. Dribbling between two. Tries to get around the corner, shoots, and that's going to take a deflection. And it looks like Nashville will get their first corner at the 8:22 mark here in the first half. Good defense right there by Orlando. As there's Sammy Surridge. As this ball gets played short. Here's Nahar. Floats it to the left-hand side, headed up. As this ball makes its way to the left, it's Bauer. And there's the switch to the right-hand side. As Nahar will play it all the way out. As Nashville's being hounded here. As Nashville now will reset. Here's Nahar at the bottom of the screen off the right-hand side. As this one has to get played back. As it makes it all the way to the left-hand side. Here's Bauer now. Plays it forward. Here's Corcoran. As Acosta plays it to the right, here's Nahar. Nice defense right there by Orlando as Brienne will play this out, so it'll be a throw-in for Nashville. As Nashville will try to reset here. Here's Acosta. Plays it through. Nahar is going to put this one forward. Oh, yeah, that's going to be 100%. That's going to be a foul against Ojeda. As he got nothing but Muhammad's jersey and his arm. So this will be a free kick for Nashville as we're about 11 and a half minutes into the first half. As Mukhtar will take this free off the right-hand side. As we will see what Nashville has in store with this on this piece here. Here's Mukhtar's ball in. Back post, headed straight up. Dorsey. And that one will get out. So again, this will be a corner. Another set piece here for Nashville. Good defense right there by Orlando. As it'll be Acosta taking the corner for Nashville. Now all of a sudden Nashville's tighten the screw a little bit here in the first half, as we're only 12 and a half minutes in. As the ref here will come down and have a stern little talking to. Excuse me. As they play this one short, as Acosta will play it down to Nahar. Nahar's going to take a rip, and he completely misses off the left side of the near post. A good 5 feet out, so Orlando dodges a bullet there. As now Orlando will have the goal kick as they're going to play from outside, from out of the back here. I absolutely hate that. Coming on July 29th, it'll be the MLS All-Star game in Charlotte. MLS All-Stars will play against a team of Mecky's All-Stars. As here comes Orlando. It's Rien. He's got space down the left-hand side, lays it off. Here's Carvalho. As he's going to have to play this one back, and he does. Here's Ojeda with space, lays it off to the right-hand side. It looks like it'll be Dorsey. And they're going to have to play this one back. Here's Janssen. That's a good ball forward. He turns. Nice little spin move. Lays it off. Here's Antoine Griezmann. And Griezmann will again play this one to the far post. They're good defense right there by Nashville. As it looks like they were trying to point out Ellis right there. Another accurate cross into the box right there for Antoine Griezmann. Here's Walensky. As it just feels like Orlando has been just a little bit the more aggressive of the attacking of the two attacking sides here. As Nashville, yes, they've had some good opportunities. Here's Mohammed trying to break down the right-hand side, as that one will get out. And yeah, they're going to say that was a foul against Orlando as Mohammed gets pushed out. As we see this one again, as Dorsey lays this off to Griezmann. Griezmann will just play one in. And it looks like Ellis got his head on it, but right there was Schwacke. Here's Walensky trying to cut in. Lays it off for Costa. Nashville will hold possession here. Going to be a to the right-hand side. Nahar will. Here's Heine Mukhtar. Dribbles in. Mukhtar. As he got his jersey held, but I think this is going to be a goal kick for Orlando. As Nahar just put a bullet in. As Mukhtar tries to dribble Paolo there. Good little centering pass right there by Nahar. And this will be a goal kick for Orlando. Oh, yeah. That is going to be a foul against Nashville as Mayar will get charged with pushing in the back right there. As this will be a free kick here for Orlando as play resumes. Here's Bercalo. As this one goes forward to Dorsey. I'm going to play this one back as it makes it all the way back to Maxime Crepeau. As Orlando has not looked bad getting forward. Their passing has been actually quite exquisite. Just quick touches, ball progresses forward. As Janssen now plays it forward, here's Ellis against Acosta. That's a nice move. As Ellis tries to lay it off, looking for Dorsey, as Nashville will take this one away. Here's Meyer. As they were looking for Heine Mukhtar. Ends up with Nair. Nahar. Najer. As Nashville will have to reset here. As Acosta will lay it off to Nahar. As he plays this centrally. And now they're going to swing it to the other side. Here's Corcoran. There's a ball to the right-hand side. Looking for Heine Mukhtar. That's good defense right by Orlando. That's Nashville. Takes it away. As they play this all the way back to Meyer. There's Nayar again. That's a nice little move as he's going to cut in. And I believe he got the whistle. He sure did. So this will be a free kick for Nashville as he actually gets the back of the shirt of Nayar right there. That was what, Carvalho? Oh, yeah. And that'll be a yellow card against Thiago. So Orlando gets their first card here in the first half as we were pushing the 20-minute mark. Now, get a look at Orlando's injured players that are in street clothes for this one. So here we go. Acosta will swing forward. That's going to be a handball. That's what they say. It looks like it went off the stomach of Heine Mukhtar. They say handball, so Orlando will get possession yet again. As Crepu will start things up for Orlando. Here's Ojeda. Nice little touch pass right there. All the way to the left now. Here's Ellis. There's a ball that's going to go forward. Looking for Dorsey. There's just nobody there except Schwacke, who plays it high. As Orlando will come away with it. Here's Dorsey off the right-hand side. Lays it in. As Ellis puts that was a good centering pass, and Ellis put one on. That's a good save by Schwacke right there. Another great move by Orlando. As that looked like it was Anguelo right there, who put just a very good centering pass, and it finds Ellis. Good save right there. Schwacke. So again, Orlando looking dangerous in the first 2 minutes here. As Nashville holds possession. As this one goes back to Corcoran. As it looks like it's going to be at Walensky here. But moves it over to Mayer. I don't know, man. Nashville's attack has been kind of mid so far. Here's Nair. And he's gonna take a little shot right there as he falls down to the turf right there. As there is a whistle. Looks like that's gonna go against Rian. As we see it again, he just puts his body into it. As play resumes here for Nashville. There's a switch to the left-hand side. That's just a bad switch ball. Looking for Bauer off the left-hand side. Couldn't bring it down, so that'll go out. So Orlando has the throw in here. Yes, here comes Orlando after the turnover. Excuse Nashville. It's a nice little move right there. As Nashville will dribble this back to the halfway line. Now they'll regroup. Here's Acosta. All the way over to Mayer. Plays it off to the right. Here's Nair. And there's nothing there, so they'll play this one back yet again. Here's Mule. As he still comes away with this one. Now they'll go to the left. Here's Bauer. Forward. Jesus Christ. As, again, they'll turn around and play it backwards yet again. That's a nice little move right there by Waletsky. Here's Muhammad as off the turn. Finds Mukhtar. Does a good job. Plays it forward. Here's Nahar. Plays it in. Hits Muhammad now. Muhammad centers it. Ooh. As Anguilla was there for Orlando. As they try to clear it, Ellis will come away with it. Here's Griezmann. Pops it forward. Again finds Anguillo. Now it's Antoine. As Griezmann will shadow down to the left-hand side. As Orlando C will now let her in their attacking half. And so Ojeda, as he tries to pop one forward, there's just nobody there as this ball gets played back to Schwacki. The Schwackster. As we are in the 26.5 minute here in the first half. What team do I support again? All of them. All of them, bud. No, I support quite a bit of teams, actually. Spurs, Sounders. A few teams in the championship. That all gets out. So it'll be a throw in here. Nashville. Antoine Griezmann has 13 touches already. 27 minutes here in the first half. He's kind of been everywhere. Here's Mayer. We'll lay it off to the Schwackster as he tries to chip this one out to the right. It's Nair. There's a turnover here by Orlando. Here's Griezmann. Griezmann will try to shoot, and he just misses the near post. Yeah, I've been watching football for quite a long time now. Started with my national team throughout the 90s until I discovered Spurs. That was a nice little through ball, and Griezmann just missed it. But I do like Spurs, and I do like Palace at the Premier League level. I kind of watch everybody in the championship. I like watching the Scottish Prem as well too. I gotta kind of have a thing for Falkirk, Aberdeen, as Nair will pop this one straight up. Mohammed challenging Janssen. Here's Mule, comes away with it. Corcoran plays it off to the left. Here's Bauer. Nothing's really there. As we really haven't seen Nashville just put a clean shot through. As that ball is going to pop forward. Good defense right there. As Thiago misplays it, and he plays it back through his own end line. So this will get out for a corner. Not exactly the greatest pass right there. Yeah, I've watched football for a good 35 years now. So it'll be Acosta taking the corner here for Nashville as we are approaching the 30th minute. As this ball gets whipped in, headed straight up by as that comes down. I think there's going to be a whistle. Yeah, there will be. As Bracalo comes down, so Orlando benefit of that, as they're going to say this one was against Walensky. Let's see. A lot of expectations from Orlando, yeah, because of the acquisition, yeah. Can I see the football? You can. You have Apple. Is this match playing now or is it still delayed? It's currently playing. So there you go. As we are now in the 31st minute as Nashville possession as it makes its way out to power. Yeah, this style of football is killing me, man. As there's a long ball down the right hand side that does found Nayar. Good defense by Rian. And I think they're going to say that was offside anyway. Yeah, it's just, man, this total football at this level, man. It's not attractive. Side to side and that, side to side and back. Not a lot of balls moving forward. Here's Janssen. As this one's taken away by Nashville. Here's Muhammad. As Muhammad's going to run. He's going to have to turn this one around. Here's Corcoran now. As he lays this off to the left-hand side, here's Bauer. As he finds Acosta in a central area, there's the ball to the right-hand side. Here's Nair. And he just flat out misses it, and it goes down. Horrible. That's only an Orlando throw in here. Oh, man, my stomach is killing me. Ugh. was at a little bit of a wedding party before I jumped on the air today. So I don't know. We'll see how I feel to start the second half. I just might call it good at the end of the first half here. As Orlando will have the throw in here. As Rian's in trouble, he's gonna have to figure out a way out of this, and he does. As Janssen will play it back to Crepeau. As Rian will chip forward. Here's Ellis trying to get around the corner. As he does on Acosta, cuts it inside. Here's Griezmann now. Griezmann will lay this one back. Here's Ojeda. Back to Greaves. Here's Anguillo. Lifts it off to the right. Here's Dorsey. Plays it in. As Nahar will pop this straight up as Schwacke pops it up. As Anguillo comes away with it, Griezmann plays one on. As that takes a deflection, but only Schwacke's there. Yes, that's the first time Orlando's looked dangerous in about 20 minutes. Nashville couldn't clear it as Anguillo came away with it. Griezmann tried to take a shot. It took some deflection, and Ellis couldn't get on the end of that one. Almost taking the lead there is Orlando. As we have 10 minutes left here in the first half, as this ball will go long, looking for Muhammad, and they're going to say he was offside. As play resumes, it's Orlando. Crossing the midway line, here's Dorsey. Lays it off to Griezmann. Here's Ojeda. Will play out to Angelo. Back to Griezmann now. Here's Dorsey trying to get the corner. Cuts it in. Here's Greaves. Goes all the way to the left. Here's Rian. Chip forward. There's no error as that was last touched by Nashville. You're in 36 minutes left. As Ellis will take this corner as he's trying to fire up the crowd here. It's going to be Griezmann in this corner. As this one, as he tries to go around the corner, it just doesn't work. So this ball gets played out. So Orlando will have the throw in here. As we're in the 37th minute, 8 minutes remain. As Ojeda tries to play it off, but it looks like Dorsey hits. They're going to say this one is against Acosta, so this will be a free kick here for Orlando. As we are approaching the 38th minute now. As this ball will get cleared out. Port Orlando will track back, hold this one in, and it will try again. Here's Anguillo again. get forward. Here's Ryan. As you play this back to Janssen. As it goes back to Nguelo on the right. There has been some decent success with Orlando down the right-hand side. Most of it was Griezmann. Speaking of which, Antoine centrally passes centrally to Ojeda. As it finds its way to Griezmann, trying to dribble between defenders. No dice, as this one ultimately gets out and say last touch by Orlando. Are in the 39th minute, so 5.5 minutes remain. Here's Griezmann as he tries to take a deflection. Held in by Orlando. Here's Griezmann. That goes all the way back to Janssen, nearly taken away by Hani Mukhtar. So they are. As Nashville will win the free kick here. Four minutes remain here. First, no score. Orlando has been a little bit of a better team. Here's Ryan. They cut in. It's going to take a deflection. Well then, Ojeda, who takes it, that's going to take a deflection. Again, Orlando doing a very good job of making sure the ball stays. They're attacking, but here comes Nashville. As they got beat, it's Mohamed. Lays it off to Nahar. As he tries to nutmeg his way. Oh, that was not a bad idea right there. And somebody crashing the net. And it was Mule down, holding his knee. As we're in the 42nd minute. As we see it again, it was a late box crash as Nahar just absolutely nutmegs his defender. As we see it again, that was a hell of a pass, and it was Mule that came in on Maxime Crepeau. As he came up holding his knee here. That was just a nice little pass right there, right through the wickets. As Mule is still down. As we're approaching the 43rd minute. As Orlando gets instruction. As both teams essentially are taking a little bit of a hydro break here. Who you got winning with how the game's been looking here in Major League Soccer? Yeah, I kind of like Nashville in the East. They've certainly been a very good team this season, as it looks like Mule is about to get up here. As Mule's going to have to come off for at least 10 seconds as the clock still runs. And it looks like he's going to be all right. How are you? Do you think this was the last World Cup that guy for Argentina? That's a good question. I don't know, man. I think he will be around for at least Copa America 2028. That's my guess. He signed through the 27-28 season, so he'll probably be around for the Copa America. It all depends on, does he want to grind for another 4 years? Doesn't have to. As this gets played all the way back to Schwaki. As Schwaki will play this long. As Muhammad tried to come down with it, but it will be Orlando here. Here's Otavio. Now Ryan. Up to Thiago. Here's Grease. Back to Otavio. Here's Angulo. And he's going to play this one back to Janssen. Here's Bercalo now. Back to Otavio. He's got space. 3 minutes of added time here at the end of the first half. That's a good cut in. There's a shot right there. The save right there by Schwaki, as that was Ellis. Not a bad idea. As Orlando will take this ball back again after the quick restart. Here's Angulo. Plays it over to the left. Here's Thiago. As Griezmann tried to pop it for it. And Thiago almost popped it to himself right there. Not bad. And there's a quick restart here by Nashville. Here's Muhammad. Good defense right there by Janssen as he slides this one out. Good defense right there by Janssen. So we're in the 47th minute, so we're about a minute away here from the half. Here's Mukhtar. As he plays this forward to Muhammad. That's good defense right there. Bio as Mukhtar is down. As Mukhtar was looking for the whistle. Yeah, no. Wasn't going to get it. He's perfectly fine. Good no call by the ref. So and that's going to be the end of the half. Well, guys, I'll tell you what. I'm going to jump off because, quite honestly, I'm just not feeling well. Plus, this late start So it's unfortunate that I have to call it at the end of the first half. It just is what it is. I'm not exactly feeling the greatest, so unfortunately it sucks. I will be back tomorrow at noon for another episode of It's Football Not Soccer with the Dermatron. It's going to be an excellent show. That is going to be tomorrow at noon Eastern, 5 UK time. That should be fun. The link, obviously, the link is up on YouTube. Please do me a favor and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell. I'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Rusted goalposts under fading skies, tattered flags waving dreams in our eyes.